Well, the previous project manager, let's put it that way, on this car, uh, cut the back panel of the Pinto out and put these aluminum frames in place with a red plexiglass lens inside to make, I guess, some trick looking taillights. Really, I hate it when people hang this billet stuff on a car that really doesn't have any other billet on it, but so it goes. But they made this housing for the inside, ostensibly for the taillight socket, and I'm just not, it's just a piece of channel cobbled together, and I'm not real keen on that. So I found these buckets in a catalog, and they're actually I think 37, 38 Chevy, and they're made if you want to French your taillights. But what I thought I could do is make a plate for the back side here with a hole in the center for, like the other one, for the light socket, and then mount it inside the car like so, and that would provide a taillight housing better than this other aluminum piece. And what I think we need to do is paint this chrome or silver inside, or line it with some aluminum tape so that you have a reflective surface. I don't know why you'd want a red surface inside the taillight housing out through the red lens with a red bulb. That just seems a little bit much to me. So that's our plan for these. We may have to weld some little tabs on here to pick up a couple of these mounting holes to hold it in place, but I think for 15 bucks, whatever these things cost, the time and material it would take to replicate that, it's not worth it. So with these things we can cut them, we can weld them, we can sand them, paint them, file them, whatever we want to do, and we haven't really cost ourselves anything. So that's what we're going to do with the tail lights. We can work on our little Pinto project here, making these rear tail lights, and we have these spiffy buckets that we bought. They're actually made for Frenching a tail light, and we'll put this plate across the back, weld that in place, and then we'll put a hole in the middle for the socket to plug into, and make ourselves a tail light housing. We got our plate cut out and rounded our corners off and drilled a hole in there that's the right size for our clip-in socket. The socket has little barbs on it that will go in there and lock the socket into the back of the plate. So what we've got to do now is sand off the paint off the back of this, and then line this up so that the hole is right in the center of the bucket, and tack weld it in place. If you have one of these, you're going to need one of these. This is a filter that goes in the upper radiator hose, and we're going to put ours right there. And what this does, traps all the rust particles that are inclined, well, not all, small ones can get through there, but most of them anyway, that are knocked loose inside the engine and on their way to plug up your nice shiny new radiator. If you have a small block Ford, especially small block Fords, and a Falcon or a Maverick or a Mustang or Sunbeam Tiger, wherever, you're going to need one of those, because sooner or later it's going to plug up your radiator. For some reason, those engines have a tendency to knock a lot of rust particles loose inside the block and float around the cooling system, and they don't fit through the cooling fins or tubes down inside the radiator, and it'll end up being aggravating. So do yourself a favor, put one of these filters in your top radiator hose. They come in different sizes. This one's clear plastic, so you can see the coolant flow. They make brass ones, make a couple different sizes, but even if you don't have a small block Ford, this is a good addition to any car build, because they all can generate the same type of problem. That is the tip of the day, and we'll go ahead and get that hose off of there and cut it. We need to cut about 1.5 inches of that hose away and fit that filter in there with a couple of new clamps, and Bob's your uncle. And so at the end of the day, that's what you end up with, is that filter in the upper hose. I will say that the genius that measured that and said it would fit inside 1.5 inch hose better get himself a new set of calipers or a new rule or something, because at least with that blue silicone hose, which is really stiff, that was a major struggle to get that filter in that hose. The problem is the filter itself measures nearly 1 5/8 OD, so you know, maybe on one of those cheap radiator hoses you could stretch it a little bit, but the other end where the filter is got a ring around it, and that ring almost measures 1 3/4. So trying to stretch that hose that far is a bit much. I'm gonna send them a note, because I'm always willing to admit I did something wrong, but you know, it's kind of like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. Yeah, I don't know, but the result is good. Got it in there, got a clamp on there, and we'll see how it works.